Ladies and gentlemen, students of life, warriors in the classroom, and dreamers in the making, this message is for you. Stop being distracted. We live in a world where every beep, every buzz, and every scroll is pulling you further from your dreams. Every notification is a thief in disguise, robbing you of your potential. But you didn't come this far just to get distracted. You didn't start this journey to stop halfway. You had a reason. You had a WAY. And when the pressure came, when the tests got harder, when the nights got longer, you didn't give up because something inside you said, keep going. Now let me ask you, do you still remember why you started? Do you remember what pushed you into that classroom, that goal, that grind in the first place? Was it to prove something? Was it to break a cycle? Was it because someone told you that you weren't good enough? Then don't you dare let a screen, a habit, a lazy thought steal that from you. Les Brown said it best. You have greatness within you. And if you have greatness within you, then it is your responsibility to protect it. Not just from failure, not just from fear, but from distraction. Distraction is not innocent. It is the enemy of your destiny. It is the quiet killer of dreams. But purpose is your shield. Purpose is your weapon. Purpose is your fuel. And when you wake up tired, when you feel like skipping class, when you feel like quitting that goal, that grind, that growth, you don't need more motivation. You need remembrance. Remember the pain. Remember the hunger. Remember the moment you said, enough is enough. I want more. That moment wasn't a fluke. That moment wasn't weak. That moment was powerful because it was born from something real. And real purpose doesn't fade. It only gets buried. So dig it up. Reclaim your fire. And stop being distracted. You didn't come this far to scroll. You came this far to succeed. You came this far to grow. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't come to the distracted. It comes to the dedicated. So the next time life throws noise at you, silence it with your vision. The next time comfort tries to seduce you, remind yourself, I didn't start this to quit. I started this to win. So rise up, lock in, and remember, you've got something special. You have greatness within you. And it's time to finish what you started. Absolutely. Here's purpose is the anchor. If you forget your why, you'll drift with every distraction. In a world overwhelmed by noise, where attention is currency and distractions come dressed as entertainment, there is one thing, only one thing, that will keep you grounded: purpose. Your purpose is your anchor. It is the reason you started, the reason you sacrificed, the reason you stayed up when others went to sleep, the reason you kept showing up, even when nothing seemed to be working. Let me tell you something straight. If you forget your why, you'll start chasing every what, every trend, every click, every shiny shortcut. And the problem with chasing distractions is not just that they waste your time, they rob you of direction. It's like sailing a ship with no compass. One moment you're going north, the next you're turning east, and before you know it, you're lost in the middle of nowhere, wondering how you got so far off course. That's what happens when you lose touch with your purpose. You start drifting, and drifting feels comfortable at first. It feels easy. It doesn't demand anything of you. But make no mistake, drifting leads to disappointment. Purpose, on the other hand, demands everything from you. It demands commitment. It demands clarity. It demands courage. But here's the thing. When you are connected to your purpose, you can withstand almost anything. You can go through stress. You can go through setbacks. You can go through struggle because you know why you're here. You're not just studying for a grade. You're studying to change your life. You're not just waking up early. You're waking up to build your future. You're not just pushing through a hard day. You're pushing for something greater than comfort. You're pushing for meaning. Now listen, life is going to test you. There will be moments when you doubt yourself. Moments when your mind says, is this really worth it? Moments when distractions come dressed up like opportunities, pulling you away from your focus. But when your purpose is clear, your answer will be stronger than your excuses. Your why will speak louder than your fears. Your anchor will hold you steady in the storm. You see, Les Brown said, when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. But let me add something. If you can look up, then remember why you got up in the first place. Purpose gives pain a point. It transforms pressure into power. It makes the impossible feel necessary, because quitting becomes too costly. And once your why becomes bigger than your obstacles, your fight becomes unstoppable. So let me ask you, what's your purpose? Why did you start? Who are you doing this for? Because when you forget your why, the grind becomes unbearable. But when you remember it, the grind becomes non-negotiable. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need constant motivation. What you need is unshakable clarity. What you need is to anchor yourself in your purpose. Every day, every hour, every choice. Write it down. Speak it out. Feel it in your bones. Let it burn in your chest. Let it guide your actions. Because without purpose, you'll be tossed by the waves. But with purpose, you become the storm. And no distraction, no delay, no doubt can stop someone who remembers why they started. Keynote: distractions are designed. We live in a world engineered to steal our focus. Let me tell you something that might shake you for a moment. Distractions are not random. They're not just accidents. They are designed, engineered to pull you away from your purpose. In this modern world, we are not fighting lions or wild animals for survival. We are fighting for our attention. And trust me when I tell you this, attention is the new currency. And if you're not careful, you will spend all of yours on things that will never pay you back. Every app you open, every social media platform you scroll through, every streaming service that autoplays the next episode, those aren't just conveniences. They are psychological traps created by some of the smartest minds in the world to keep you engaged, distracted, and most dangerously numb. Let's break this down in a way every student, every dreamer, every young achiever can understand. When you sit down to study, to write, to build, to focus, how long does it take before your phone lights up? You hear it vibrate, and suddenly your thoughts go from algebra to Instagram, from your future to someone else's highlight reel, and just like that, your momentum is gone. This isn't a coincidence. It's algorithmic warfare. Social media platforms are built on addiction science, dopamine loops, variable rewards, infinite scrolling. These systems were built to distract you, to steal your time, and to sell your focus to advertisers. Every second, you're not working on your goals. You're making someone else rich. Let that sink in. You're not just scrolling. You're spending your minutes, spending your energy, spending your purpose. And here's the real danger. Over time, when you're constantly distracted, your mind gets used to fragmentation. You lose your ability to concentrate deeply. You begin to feel uncomfortable with silence. You feel anxious if you're not being stimulated. And before you know it, you become a consumer instead of a creator. Let me give it to you straight. You were not born to scroll. You were born to soar. You were not put here to binge watch. You were put here to build something that outlasts you. But you can't build anything solid if you're constantly being pulled in 1,000 directions. Now, I'm not saying cut off all entertainment. I'm not saying throw away your phone. But what I am saying is take back control. Be intentional with your attention. You have to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Every dream you have, every goal you wrote down, every plan you whisper to yourself at night, it requires focus. And if you don't guard it, the world will gladly waste it for you. So here's your challenge. Create sacred spaces where distractions don't live. Turn off notifications. Schedule your screen time instead of letting it schedule you. Practice deep work. And most importantly, remind yourself that the world is designed to make you forget. But you must choose to remember, because your dreams are too valuable to be interrupted by someone else's post. Your purpose is too important to be paused for a trending sound. And your time is too precious to be stolen by distraction. So be sharp, be aware, be intentional, because when you learn to master your focus, you become unstoppable. Pain fuels growth. Remembering why you started often means revisiting your struggle. There's a strange truth about success that nobody likes to talk about. Pain is part of the process. We grow through what we go through. And if you're serious about becoming the person you were meant to be, if you're serious about finishing what you started, then you must make peace with pain. Now let me tell you something powerful. When you forget why you started, go back and revisit the pain that pushed you to begin. Maybe you started studying because you were tired of being average. Maybe you made a commitment because you were tired of being broke, being overlooked, or living in someone else's shadow. Maybe you had a dream of being the first in your family to graduate, to break the cycle, to change the narrative. That moment of discomfort, of frustration, of feeling like enough is enough, that wasn't weakness, that was awakening. And sometimes when life gets comfortable, we forget the fire that got us moving in the first place. We get distracted, we lose focus, we start scrolling, we procrastinate. Why? Because we forget the struggle. We forget that the pain was our launch pad. Let me remind you, pain is not your enemy, it's your teacher. Pain said, I don't want to live like this anymore. Pain said, I'm tired of settling. Pain said, you've got more in you, you just haven't tapped into it yet. And the truth is, if you run from pain, you run from growth. If you numb it, ignore it, or try to avoid it, you're only delaying your greatness. You know what makes people dangerous in the best way possible? People who remember what they've been through. People who refuse to go back. People who use their past, not as an excuse, but as a reason. That's why remembering your pain is power, because that pain had a purpose. It woke you up. It made you move. It started your journey. But here's the problem. Success gets quiet. Comfort creeps in. You start making progress, and that fire begins to dim. And then you forget. You forget how hungry you were. You forget the tears, the frustration, the sacrifice. You forget how hard it was just to get started. That's why you've got to remind yourself daily, what did I survive? What did I walk away from? What did I fight through to be here? Les Brown says, you've got to be hungry, but hunger isn't just about the future. It's rooted in the memory of the pain that got you started. So if you're feeling lost, if you're falling off track, if you're distracted, go back. Go back to the nights you cried in silence. Go back to the jobs that broke your spirit. Go back to the classrooms where you felt invisible. Go back to the version of you that said, I'm ready for more. Because when you reconnect with your struggle, you reignite your purpose. You stop waiting for motivation, because now you're driven by memory. You stop chasing comfort, because now you understand that growth lives outside of it. You stop comparing yourself to others, because you know what it cost you just to get here. So let the pain remind you. Let the pain push you. Let the pain fuel you, because that pain wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning. And when you honor it, when you remember it, when you use it, that's when you move different. That's when you walk in purpose. That's when you finish strong. Discipline over motivation. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. Let me tell you something powerful, something you don't hear often enough. Motivation is a spark. It's the fire that lights. When you hear a good speech, watch an inspiring video, or read something that touches your heart, it feels good. It gives you energy. It gets you moving. But let's be real. Motivation doesn't last. You ever been fired up after watching a video or listening to someone like Les Brown? You feel like you're ready to take on the world, but then 2 days later, you're back to scrolling, back to sleeping in, back to procrastinating. Why? Because motivation is temporary. It's emotional. It's like caffeine. You get the boost, but eventually, it wears off. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is what keeps you growing. When motivation disappears, discipline is doing what you said you would do, long after the mood you set it in has left you. Les Brown said, you gotta be hungry, but hunger is not just a feeling. It's not just a craving. It's a commitment to feed yourself with effort, with consistency, with discipline. Let me break this down. Motivation wakes you up at 5 a.m. once. Discipline gets you up at 5 a.m. once. Discipline gets you up at 5 a.m. every day. Motivation helps you start that assignment. Discipline helps you finish it on time and done right. Motivation
makes you set the goal. Discipline makes you show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's watching. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to admit success isn't sexy. Growth isn't glamorous. It's a quiet grind. It's lonely. It's repetitive. But discipline says, I don't need applause. I need results. And discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline says, I know you're tired. Do it anyway. I know it's hard. Push anyway. I know you don't feel like it. Show up anyway. You know what separates the people who dream from the people who do. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's discipline. Because when the motivation fades, the emotions settle, and no one's cheering for you, that's when champions are made. Discipline builds character. It builds habits. It builds momentum. You do it enough, it becomes who you are. You're not just someone who studies. You become a scholar. You're not just someone who trains. You become an athlete. You're not just someone who writes. You become a writer. Discipline turns actions into identity. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop waiting for the mood to be right. Stop waiting for everything to line up. The discipline to act creates the momentum you need. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your discipline. So if you're serious about your goals, if you're serious about your growth, build discipline. Start small. Be consistent. Show up daily. Because discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. And when you look back one day at how far you've come, it won't be the moments of motivation that got you there. It will be the mornings you didn't quit, the nights you kept working, the days you did it tired, the days you did it scared. That's discipline, and that's what builds greatness. You have greatness within you. Tap into it and protect it. Let me remind you of something that far too many people forget in the noise of everyday life. You have greatness within you. I'm not talking about something average. I'm not talking about potential that's only visible to others. I'm talking about a deep, undeniable power that's already inside you, waiting, burning, ready to be used. You see, Les Brown didn't just say that line to make you feel good. He said it because it's truth. Truth that cuts through doubt, through fear, through the lies the world tries to feed you. Greatness doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you're better than anyone else. Greatness means you have the capacity to rise above your circumstances, to master your challenges, to do something impactful with your life, no matter where you started. But here's the catch. That greatness, that potential, it's not automatic. It's not handed to you. It doesn't show up just because you want it to. You've got to tap into it. You've got to protect it. Now, how do you do that? You start by changing the way you talk to yourself. The average person speaks more negativity into their life than anyone around them does. They say things like, I'm not smart enough. I'll never make it. This is too hard. That kind of self-talk builds walls around your greatness. So the first thing you do, you tear those walls down. You replace those words with I am capable. I will figure this out. I have what it takes. You feed your mind the language of possibility. Next, you protect your greatness by protecting your focus. Your time is your life. Your attention is your energy. If you waste it on distractions, drama, or doubters, you're starving your greatness. Look around. Look at how many people settle. They settle for jobs they hate. They settle for grades they know aren't their best. They settle in relationships that shrink them, not because they don't have potential, but because they forgot who they are. They forgot they had greatness inside. Don't let that be you. Guard your greatness like a treasure, because it is. That means not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Not every voice deserves a seat in your mind. If they're not building you up, they're breaking you down. And you don't need to feel guilty about protecting your peace and your progress. Now hear me clearly. Tapping into your greatness doesn't mean you'll never fail. You will fail, but failure doesn't define you. Response does. Greatness is revealed, not when everything is easy, but when you're under pressure and you choose to keep going. When you show up anyway, when you push through the pain, when you say, I will not give up on myself, because deep down, you know you were not born to be average. You were born with a calling, a gift, a voice, a light. So let the world scroll, let the noise scream, let the distractions dance. You stay grounded, you stay growing, you stay growing, you stay locked in on your greatness. Because if you don't protect your greatness, nobody else will. And if you don't believe in it, nobody else can. Les Brown said, you have greatness within you, and today, it's time to act like it.